Hamilton's companion does love to stitch. It is Betsy Klager, she is a real hoot. Maths is just tricky, cutting fabrics real hard. She stitches with a pussy, and that's what she said.
Hey Flosstube! It's me, Betsy Klager, back with episode number 19. I have my little Hamilton here. Can you say hi? She's not used to recording. Since I last recorded, oh my gosh, I missed all of March. Today is Monday, April the 4th. The last time I recorded was February 20th. And that's the last time little Hamilton was on. And since I last recorded, Hamilton went in for her checkup. She's a little overweight. And she had to get dental work done and had more teeth pulled. So now she has 9 teeth left. Ah, she's so much better now. She had to eat canned food for 2 weeks. She was not happy and could not wait to get back to her kibble. And believe it or not, she can still eat kibble with only 9 teeth. Who knew? Who knew? She's been hanging out in my sewing room helping Mommy because Mommy's been busy finishing things. Fully finishing things. Right, Hamilton? Right? Yeah. Oh, that was a hiccup. Or was it a burp? I don't. It's like, why am I not able to really see very well? Because my iPad's across the room. And it's because I don't have my glasses on. Let's try and put them on. And maybe I can see better. Oh, oh, Hamilton, you're beautiful. But you already knew that. Yes. Oh, are you ready to get down? Do you want to go back to the cutting table? She was sitting, actually when I was setting up, she was sitting over here behind the sewing machine. So I thought maybe she'll stay there. She's sitting in my lap right now. Who are you and what have you done with Hamilton? I'm like Dr. Evil. Okay, well, obviously I haven't calmed down in the last, what, 5.5 weeks, 6 weeks since I recorded. I've missed you all, and I've been watching Flosstube like crazy, but I just, a lot of times I've been watching on the TV, so I don't leave comments, or other times I just haven't had the energy to leave comments. Isn't that the worst? I know. Well, we have a full episode today. Don't be Hamilton. I can't believe she's sitting in my lap like this. I think it's because I'm rubbing her. Why am I whispering? Because she understands me. Oh, Hamilton, you get me, don't you? Yes, you do. Oh. Well, I don't know if there's going to be much of an order to anything because it seems like the longer I go between floss tubes, the more intimidated I get by thinking of all the things I have to cover. And, you know, let's not go on a script. Let's just throw caution to the wind, shall we? What do you say, Hamilton? I love it when I rub her bottom and she sticks it. Oh, she's looking at me. I wish I could see this. Can you see her? Can you see her? Yes, and she sticks her little bottom up when I do that. Oh, she likes it. That's my Hamilton voice. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're listening on earbuds and all of a sudden you got a weird voice. Speaking of weird voices, not that. That was not what my point was. We started watching The Dropout about Elizabeth Holmes, the Theranos fraud case. She was convicted of fraud earlier this year. And she talks like this and sounds very deep. Oh, Hamilton doesn't like that. She's looking up at me right now. Hello, Hamilton. Yeah, it's really good. It's quite exciting. Amanda Seyfried plays Elizabeth. Oh, she's looking. Oh, you love Mommy, don't you? Oh, she loves Mommy. Okay, this floss tube is just going to be Hamilton and me looking at each other with love. That's all the hair I get in my mouth. Oh, you looking at Mommy with love. Actually, it's getting to be DINNER time. And she's a little piggy poo, this one. I caught her with her head in the bag of kibble when she was on her restricted diet and she couldn't eat anything except canned food. She was going crazy and she found her kibble up on the shelf in the laundry room and she tried to eat it. She's a smart one. Yes. I can't believe she's still sitting here. I may not be able to show anything or move around because I cannot disturb Her Highness. If you're not a cat person, I'm sorry for this long introduction because I'm stalling while I pet her. And this is such a T-R-E-A-T for me. See, I can't say that word. Yes, and she's looking at Mommy, not like she wants to kill me either. So I have been a busy little bee with my stitching, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to start off with fully finished, right? And then I have finishes in March, and oh, I have an FO that from February, it was my goal to finish it. Anna OHMAN, and you'll find out if I successfully finished it in February. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm Betsy Klager on Instagram. None of this will be a surprise, so spoiler alert. I also want to remind you all to please like this video and subscribe. I am at 3,000 subscribers. Actually, it's 3,040 something or other. And boy, is that an ego boost, huh? Right, Hammy? I'm putting my legs up on my toes so you can see her face. Yeah, subscribe, please. You get, number one, if you hit the bell, you get notifications of when I post a video. But it also feeds my ego. And I'm pretty pathetic. Don't you want to feed my ego and make me think that people like me? You like me. You really like me. I think Flosstube is fun, and I think watching the subscriber numbers go up is fun. I don't know why. But please subscribe if you're watching on a regular basis. The other thing we're going to talk about today is a review on a lamp, a BenQ lamp. I've seen other floss tubers have done reviews, and I'm going to do a review for you. In fact, it is responsible for the light that's over by my iPad. So a lot of the light, I mean, it's still daylight out. It's about 5 o'clock, but I am going to do a review. They did send it to me for free, but I'm going to give you an honest review because I can't be bought. There's no price that I have that will cause me to give an opinion that I don't believe. Unless it's $1 million, okay? I think we can all agree to that. $1 million, yeah, I'll say whatever you want. If you are new and you don't get my sense of humor, pretty much don't believe anything I say. I say it with a sarcasm or with a little bit of snideness, and also I make things up. I do. I don't like to look like I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'll just pretend and I make it up. So those are just a few things you need to know about me if you haven't watched before. And welcome if you're new. Welcome to the fun. If you want to know my background and know a little bit about me, you can go back to episode 1 and I give, you know, the floss tuber tag, stitcher tag kind of thing. Okay, so enough of that. She still hasn't moved. I mean, I'm not petting my legs. It's my Hamilton, and I just can't believe it. So I'm going to try and move to get my fully finished objects, which I have documented everything in my book of days. And I spent Sunday putting stickers in, well, not the whole day, for March, because I like to, if Hamilton wasn't in my lap, I would come up close. But you see here, you know what, I'll probably try and take some pictures and show on my Instagram. But right here, there are these big stickers, and it says New Start and Finish. Jennifer from Whistle Stop Stitching sells those on her Etsy shop, and they mark the beginning of a project and the end of a project. Duh. So I do not like to put stickers in my month until after I fill it out, because they take up a whole block. So if I put stickers in and I decide to start something or I finish something, then that block will cover up all the stickers that I put down. So I like to wait until I do a week, or in this case, I waited the whole month, and then I fill it in with stickers. The stickers, if you can see, I'm using my long arms, the stickers you'll see are themed for cross stitch, and those are also available on Jennifer's shop, Whistle Stop Stitcher. So March was a Jennifer month, and I started 6 projects, and I finished 4, and I fully finished 2. It was also a smalls month. Historically, in the long history of my stitching, I like to go big. I do, well, Mary Clayton is not a big sampler, but it's a good sized project. Okay, so now it seems like I made it up because these two are little, but this, the cat sampler, took a while. The political is personal. That's small, but so I'm not finding good examples. A lot of my works in progress, that's it, whips are bigger, samplers or just big charts. And I thought, well, darn it, I'm going to get into smalls. Okay, it wasn't my idea. Nikki Noodles was doing smalls, and I have to do everything Nikki's doing because she's Nikki and I just want to copy her. Not only was she doing smalls, but she was also doing bunnies. I love bunnies, don't get me wrong. I think I'm one of the only people in the neighborhood. I'm not a gardener, so I don't really care that the bunnies eat things. And so I don't kill bunnies in my yard, and we have them under our deck in the backyard procreating. And I love them. Now that we don't have dogs, we didn't get rid of any dogs. They died of natural causes at a ripe old age. But our little hunter miniature pincher dog, Harpo, used to kill bunnies. Yeah, so we used to, before we let him out to do his business, we would go outside, make a lot of noise so the bunnies would run away, or run under the deck so Harpo couldn't kill them. But we were not always successful. So I wanted to get into the bunny stitching that's going on because it's spring and there are bunnies everywhere. So smalls, bunnies, that's the theme for March. And I thought I was going to start with the FFOs, but I'm already going to change my mind. Or as Max used to say when he was little, I'm going to give up my mind and show you what my goal was for February, which was to complete Anna OHMAN. And I did complete it, and I'm going to show it to you now, if I could do it without disturbing Her Highness. Oh, gosh, I love this cat more than life itself, but the hair that I end up, okay, out of order here. Let's get, You're also going to be impressed because I ironed everything. I was sewing on Sunday, yesterday, so I thought, well, heck, my ironing machine is out and my presser, Hamilton, you're making me itch. My presser pad was out, so I thought, well, darn it, I'm just gonna iron my projects, my whips. Actually, these aren't whips, these are finished objects, what we call FOs, finished objects. I told you I'm all over the place, and I will be all over the place. And yes, I will give a life update, a very short one, because bless all of you reaching out to me to make sure I'm okay. I'm okay. And I will give an update on tumor stuff later on. For those of you who are new, I have a tumor in my head. It's not cancer. So that's the headline. So it's not dire, but I will give an update. Here is Anna OHMAN. I'm trying to do this without moving my lap because she's still here. This is proof that Hamilton doesn't hate me. She loves me. She really loves me. 1873, Anna OHMAN, 1873. My chair has wheels. I'm going to try and wheel it up without disturbing Hamilton. Easier said than done. Can you see that? This was done in the called for fancy floss. See, now I am not going to, it is 40 count, 1 thread over 2. And oh, there she goes. Oh, thank you, Hamilton. Thank you for showing me love. Okay, here we go. Here's the close-up. Isn't that beautiful? It's, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the name of the thread. Gentle Arts or Classic, I believe it's a Classic Color Works. Ooh, Barn something. I'm so sorry. It is what is called for, so it should be easy to look it up. And I just love it. There was one more doohickey up here, line up there, and I thought, I don't think it needs that. I did put my initials here, BK, Betsy Klager. I love it. I love it. I think a nice wood frame, like a wider frame, will be really nice on this. So I did complete, let's see, so far this year, January, I had a finished object. And then February, I set out to finish one of my projects, and I did. Now, I don't mind putting my initials on projects. Now that I'm married, I've been married 33 and a half years, but my maiden name is Mayer. That was my maiden name. So when I got married in 1988, I wasn't sure if I was going to change my last name. I thought about it, and there are a lot of reasons that I'm not that attached to my paternal family name. My dad died when I was 16. I don't remember a lot about him. His family, I don't know how to say it. My dad died when I was 16, my sister was 17, and my other sister was 19. And my dad's family had quite a bit of money. And so my mother was left a widow, and when my grandfather died, they basically didn't provide anything for my mother to help us with college, because we were in college when my grandfather died. So I just felt that was very disrespectful to my dad. And that's a long story. So I wasn't that attached to Mayer. But the real reason is that if I hadn't changed my name, this would be BM. So I changed my name when I got married so I wouldn't be bowel movement. Now you know. Okay, so that needs to be framed, and I'm going to frame it myself. I need a couple of things framed, and I will put this on the list to order a frame, and I'll keep you updated on that. Now I want to show my fully finished objects. Scattered Seed Samplings is a designer that I've heard of but never really looked at the charts. I think the designer's name is Tammy. Holy cannoli. I want all the patterns, but that's not the FFO. That's 2 finished objects I have for Scattered Seed Sampling. So hold that thought. The FFOs are la-di-da. And la-di-da, as you all know, puts out some of the cutest patterns. Well, that darn Nikki, I'll tell you, she did a bunny pattern that I had to do. And there's a series of 3. It's Sweet Pea, Francis, and Francis is spelled in the traditional masculine way, F-R-A-N-C-I-S, is usually a male's name, usually, and F-R-A-N-C-E-S is the quote-unquote female name of Francis. So this is I-S, so it's a boy bunny, and this is important, what I'm going to tell you. And then there's Sampler Hair, which is in my haul because I bought it because I wanted to make all 3. So let me show you all of the 2 that I've made. I gotta get up close for this because it's so exciting. Hello. Sweet Pea. Look at Sweet Pea. If you watch Nikki Noodle, and if you're not living under a rock, you're watching her. She's my Aussie mate. She and I do chicken on the barbie. Look at that. Is that not the cutest little bunny? And the little tail, which is not anatomically correct, right? They have little fluffy tails, but look at that. All this is the threads from the 32 count linen. And I used the same fabric on the back. Nikki had a really good point. And like I said, I do everything she tells me. And rather than using a contrasting fabric or a cotton, which would be cute, it might show on the front, you know, depending on how your seams go. And there's the bottom, which we're not going to look at too much, but it stands up and a cute little ribbon. So that is Sweet Pea. Well, I finished Sweet Pea. Let's see, what's my, not that anybody, Sweet Pea was finished on March 26th. So this past Sunday, yesterday, April 3rd, I finished Francis. Isn't he cute? He's littler than Sweet Pea. He's a little guy. And he stands up. Ta-da! He took no time to stitch because it's just an alphabet. Actually, I stitched him first and then I stitched Sweet Pea, but I finished, or FFO'd Sweet Pea. And here they are together. And I was thinking, oh, I'll put them in a basket together and then I'll wake up one morning and they'll be baby bunnies. Because that's what bunnies do. I'm not going to act out anything with my bunnies because they're too pure and innocent. And I'm not 13 anymore. I'm 60. I need to show some respect for my bunnies. Aren't they cute? And like I said, there's no order to anything here, so I'm just going to show you in a minute. As soon as I get to it. Ah, I know where it is. It's right on top here. This is Sampler Hair. And that looks a little more involved, kind of like Sweet Pea. It's going to take longer to stitch than Francis did. But this is the Sampler Hair. Sampler hair will be, you know, it'll be a happy threesome of friends. I don't, sampler hair it does not have a gender. So we have Sweet Pea, the female, we have Francis, the male, and then we have non-gender sampler hair. So everybody's represented. Almost. It's impossible to represent everybody, but you get the idea. And they're going to live happily ever after. I'm not going to start on sampler hair anytime soon. And to be honest, just between us chickens, these were a pain in the you-know-what to do the ears. That's all I'm going to say. Look how little they are. And to turn them and then to stuff them, set aside an afternoon. It's not quick. Now the instructions tell you to hand sew it all. But again, I did what Nikki did, and machine showed them. I machine showed them suffering succotash. And I did it with the machine. And then the bottom part was whip stitched. And also the part on Francis's ear, which took quite a beating when I was trying to turn it inside out. It reminded me of when I was little, I had an Audi belly button. I don't know if this is TMI, but you're gonna find out anyway. I had an Audi belly button, and my sisters made fun of me for it because they had innies. And it's funny, I outgrew it. It's not an Audi anymore. And don't worry, I'm not gonna show you. I know where to draw the line. But it reminded me when I pulled it through, it's like, ooh, it's the little button, like my little Audi belly button. And I'm pulling it. And it took quite a beating. And so I had to whip stitch a little here, but you can't tell. So I need to take a bunny break before I tackle. Now I could start stitching sampler hair. The stitching is fine. It's just assembling these kind of what I call PITA, P-I-T-A. Pain in the Aren't they cute? I'm so proud of these. So proud. Okay, I'm going to put them in their basket. Oh, I should show you this. I made a trip up to Sherry's store, Colorado Cross Stitcher. In person. She doesn't sell these online, so I went and I bought a dough bowl. She does have a link where you can purchase these directly from the seller, but if you live in Colorado or you make a road trip to Colorado Cross Stitcher, you can pick up a dough bowl, and I think they have longer ones too. This one I believe was $21, and this is where Francis and Sweet Pea live, along with this little guy that Nikki stitched for me months ago and sent to me. It says Chums. Isn't that cute? Yeah. So they live with Chums, and the colors match perfectly. So they're Chums. By the way, the last Flosstube I did, which was a Flosstube Live, I did not put any links in the description box as I told you I was going to do. And I was kind of on a struggle bus for a little while after that with tumor symptoms and things like that. So I apologize, but I will try and put links in the description box this time. But if I don't, I'm sorry, but I'll try. Just send me a message on Instagram, leave a message on YouTube if you want to know something. I'll tell you what, it won't be in the description box right away. It'll be a couple hours. So just send a message and I'll be happy, or you can email me. My email address is in the description box of Flosstube. But I am going to try and do better about that. All right, so they're going back to where they live. And I'm sorry, but I have to take a drink of water because it's very dry in Colorado. All right, so that was was my big excitement yesterday, finishing Frances. And I was going to record, but I was so tired after fighting with the ear to get it to turn around. If you don't like fiddly things or you're not into finishing things, I would suggest sending it to a professional finisher and let that person deal with it. It's worth the money. Yesterday I would have paid somebody to finish my Frances. Okay, so, oh, now I can show these closer now that I don't have Hamilton. These are the stickers I'm talking about from Jennifer Whistlestop. And you can see I have everything decorated with the quart jar. April is going to be Cat Month, and I've already put some stickers in where I know I'm not going to have a start or finish. Well, here you can see, yeah, I finished something I'm going to show you. So I put that in the box. But the other ones, I knew I wasn't going to start anything early in the week, so I put my cat stickers. Aren't they cute? This is for you, Kathy. They have little fish. They're a bunch of cute stickers. Some of these were sent to me by Nikki because she and I like stickers and we like to collect them and trade them. Okay, so what else did I finish this month? And these are all started and finished. So what is it, a SAF, start and finish? I was talking about scattered seed samplings before when I was going down some trail of mumbling. I'm sorry, I have Hamilton hair all over me. How come the white hair from her sticks on? I'm wearing black striped, oh, you like my foot? Black striped pants, and of course her white hair comes off on my pants. All right, scattered seed samplings. They have the cutest patterns. And I had to do another bunny because it's bunny month. This is called Spring Gathering. Isn't it cute? The little eggs, gathering the eggs. And I know a lot of people decorate for Easter and they use Easter eggs and Easter baskets and bunnies. I know that there are some people who may be more observant of Easter on a religious, from a religious standpoint, because it's a very important and significant religion in Christianity. But I do not practice. I don't celebrate Christian holidays. I'm Jewish. So for me, this is a spring, kind of reborn spring, eggs, flowers. That's kind of what it means. So I plan to keep this up all spring. And let me show you the other companion piece that I did, and I'll tell you how and why I'm gonna finish them. I originally was going to frame them, but I have another idea, and I do want input on this. I may listen, I may not, but I want suggestions because I think I may be a little biased because of a purchase I made. I'll explain it all in a minute. This is spring delivery because the eggs have hatched. Ha ha ha. Look. And it's a bunny smoking a pipe. I mean, really. What is better than animals wearing clothes and animals smoking a pipe? And there's a little smoke coming out. Can you see? Now, the chicks are a little pale. This is called for. I did everything with the called for floss, fancy flosses, and the fabric, which is Weeks Dye Works straw. I actually like the subtle colors. I know that when you're looking at it from a distance, it's hard to see what they are, but in person, I like the muted tones of the little chicks. Look, they're eating stuff on the ground. I just think they're adorable. Okay, so I said I was thinking of framing them, but when I started down the Sweet Pea and Francis and then soon to be sampler hair rabbit hole, if you'll excuse the pun, I thought, well, what am I going to use to stuff them? I have made pillows before, and I've used, there's a basket of pillows. Some are gifted to me, but some I've made. And I've used the pellets that you can buy at the craft store, which are plasticky, so I don't want to use those. People talk about the walnut shells, the lizard litter. Other people use polyfill. This is the Nikki episode. Nikki bought some wool roving, and I thought, oh, what a great idea. It's wool, it's nice and soft, and it worked really well in making Sweet Pea and Francis. So I went on to Etsy and I bought some wool roving. And I don't know about you, but I'm really bad at measurements. I'm really bad at sizes. I can't estimate how big this room is. I don't think in those terms. I don't think in terms of, you know, how much is a pound of wool roving, or a pound's a bad example because that's a lot, but how many ounces is in a package of wool roving? I have no idea. So all I knew was that I wanted wool roving to stuff these. And I actually had this that I had ordered, which came vacuum packed, and I thought it was really small. And this is what I had, but for some strange reason, and I have two of these, okay? So I got these to do Sweet Pea and Francis. And I thought, well, that's not going to be enough for when I do. See, before I saw it, I thought, well, that's not going to be enough to do all of the pillows and all of the other little smalls that I'm starting to get into nowadays. So I better order more. And I took Nikki's suggestion to go onto Etsy and find somebody who sells wool roving to use in my future projects. This is what came. I'm going to be stuffing the hell out of everything. And so, I haven't even opened this yet because I haven't gone through what I've already bought. So then I thought, well, and I actually saw someone on Instagram, I'm sorry I don't remember who it was, make pillows out of these. So that's what these are going to be. They're going to be pillows. I need to find some cute fabric for the back. I have lots of trim that I've bought from Sherry, Colorado Cross Stitcher. And I'm going to go to town and I'm going to stuff everything. I'm going to stitch it and then I'm going to stuff it. I don't care how big. Of course, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to stuff Houses of Hawk Run Hollow. Although, could you imagine a pillow of Houses of Hawk Run Hollow? I think it'd be awesome. This is a challenge to anybody out there who wants to make the biggest cross-stitch pillow ever. I challenge you. It's not going to be me, but pillow and matching pillow. And I'm going to leave them both up all year round, even though they're spring and it might look silly in January. I don't care. So that's my stuffing story. I love these. They're so adorable. I think they would look cute as a flat fold even, but I'm not doing that because I need to use my stuffing. If anybody needs anything stuffed, call me. I'll stuff it for you. As long as it's not a tiny ear like the Sweet Pea and Francis. There's one more finished object. Actually, it is a SAF, but I'm going to wait because right now I'm going to do a review of the BenQ lamp. I was contacted by the people at BenQ. It's called an e-reading lamp. or a Genie e-reading lamp. And I did not know this, but you can get a floor model. I have the desktop model because I didn't need a floor model. So they contacted me and said, would you like to review? We'll send it to you for free. We want you to, the only condition is that I do have to do a review and I have to publish it on my YouTube channel. And I said, fine, I would love to do that because, excuse me, I don't know about you all, but I'm always looking for innovative ways to stitch while watching TV with hubby, or in my stitching spot in the downstairs den, when the TV's not on, I have a floor lamp, and I'm always looking for ways to make the lighting better so that I can see the 40 count. That's as high as I go, is 40 count, either with or without magnification. But lighting is very, very important, and I'm always looking for a way to be able to see what I'm stitching, but also do it so as not to interrupt what Scott's doing if we're watching TV together, for example, if that makes sense. The old lamp that it's not old, but I have a magnifier light that clamps on to my lap stand. I can't use that while we're watching TV because it's too bright and it reflects. So I'm obviously in a very talkative mood. I must not have been talking to people for the last 2 weeks. I don't know. But I said, sure, I would love to review it, send it on, and I'll do it. Now that was about 3.5 weeks, almost 4 weeks ago. And I wanted to wait and do a really thorough review. So I used it in my stitching spot in the den. I used it watching TV up in our little cave with Scott, with all the he likes all the lights out in the room, so it's only my stitching lamp, whatever it is, that I use. And if it interferes with the TV watching, I can't use it. I have to get another alternative to do my stitching. So I put it through all different phases. I tested it with Scott, I tested it alone, all conditions. And I will say, when I first opened it, my thinking was, this costs $189. It better be worth it. So I already had a bias that, come on, $189, you know, this better, you know, feed the cat and empty your litter box too. But I've spent over $100 on lighting that didn't work out. So I thought, why am I being so judgmental about the $189? So it's not a casual purchase. It's not something that someone should just impulsively buy because it's a lot of money. But I will say, generally speaking, after I put it through all the ringer, I put it through the ringer in all different situations. I think it is worth the money that they're charging. And I think if you're someone who wants to have something you can move around, and I'm talking about the desktop model, I used it when I was sewing yesterday, in addition to in my stitching spot. And the quality of it, I give it a thumbs up, and I'm going to go through and tell you why that is. And I'm going to go behind the iPad and bring it out and show you what I like about it and why I think it's a good quality product. Excuse I told you I wasn't going to show you my belly button, and I won't. Although remember, I like to talk about belly buttons from Seinfeld. Remember when Jerry dated the girl that was, they pretended her belly button talked? Hello! La la la! Okay, so this is the lamp. The cord, first of all, is, I've never seen a cord like this on a lamp. It's, let's get up close. I don't know if you can see that. That's too blurry. Hold on. I really want you to get a good look at this. It's a coil. It's not metal, it's cloth. It's some kind of heavy fiber. Really, really solid. It's not going to fray. And it's a long cord, and I just told you how bad I am at measuring. So I have the materials. I don't know if the materials tell us how long the cord is, but I'm happy to measure it if anybody wants to write to me and you want to know how long the cord is. I'll be happy to measure it and put it in the comments or in the description. But it's a very, very high quality cord. The plug goes into any kind of wall outlet, but also a surge protector without taking up space of the outlet next to it. You know how surge protectors have like 6 lined up in a row? You can plug this in and it doesn't encroach onto the next one. Sometimes electronics have those plugs where it takes up 2 spots on a surge protector. This doesn't, it just takes 1. Okay, so it moves at different angles, so you can angle it however you want this way. It's not flimsy. I mean, this is solid. This is a solid piece of product here, and it's easy to assemble. They have the instructions, but I never read the instructions, and I figured out how to do it. I put the bar in here, and it's very, very easy to put together. It took me about, I don't know, 3 minutes, and that's without reading the directions. So here's the base. I think the floor model is basically the same thing, but you take this out and put it into another longer thing with a base. I don't know if I explained that right. Marlene, Stitching by the Lake, did a review of the floor model. So you can check her out, or you can, send her a message. And she also enjoyed, sorry, my nose is itching, enjoyed this lamp and did a review on it that was pretty favorable. This is how you turn it on. Ah! Let there be light. My one complaint is, as a post-menopausal woman, I get hot. And this does not, it's not like I can feel, oh my gosh, it's hot. But after I'm sitting for a while, I feel warmth coming from it. It's not uncomfortable, it's just something that I notice. So I want to tell you everything about this lamp that I've discovered. It also angles this way. So you could light a pretty large area. The way the light works, it kind of goes out and is a much larger area. When I was using it sewing yesterday, it was amazing. I didn't have to move it at all. It lit the whole area I needed, including when I was hand sewing and stitching up, clothes. I had it sitting on my sewing machine table, but it lit the whole area. This is another great, great quality that I'm going to show you, or feature. Let's call it a feature that I really like, and this is why I can use it while we're watching TV. There's a knob up here. Now you have to be careful when you're fiddling with it that, you're like, what? It went out. It's so easy to turn on and off, and sometimes I forget, oh, just touching that. But this is great. You can adjust the light just by turning the knob, which is fantastic. When I first plugged it in to use it while we were watching TV, Scott said it's too bright. It's not going to work. And so all I did was doo-doo-doo, and I could see and stitch. I would even try that. I did try it. So if you're thinking of, if you do end up buying one, the 36 count fabric that I work on, I need just my glasses, which are bifocals. A lot of times if my lighting isn't good, I need either the magnifier that kind of sits on my chest or the headgear. When I use this lamp, I don't need magnification or headgear to stitch on the 36. So I thought that was pretty nifty. You know, I used my reader, so if you, or my glasses, so if you do use reading glasses for close-up, you probably still will, but you know, try it without the magnification. I thought that was neat because the less gear I have to use, the easier it is to get up and go to the bathroom, to be honest. Because I'm just sitting there drinking water and drinking coffee, so, you know. Although it's a good thing to get up and stretch, I know, but you know what I'm saying. So I give this a thumbs up. And I was thinking, you know, in what, I'm going to go and put this back behind my iPad because it does give light so you can see my projects better. Excuse me, I need a sip of water. I was thinking, okay, in what universe would I spend $189 for a lamp? And the obvious choices were, you know, Christmas, birthday, Mother's Day. I will often ask for things that I wouldn't necessarily buy for myself because let's face it, there are a lot of things I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna get it. But it's a nice, something that you could tell a friend or spouse or partner that you would like for your birthday or for Christmas. It's a special occasion kind of gift, but it is very practical. So I recommend it. I think it's worth holding off buying patterns for a few months in order to buy one. If I was in the market for a new lamp, that's how I would justify it. But it is a lot of money. I've probably spent $200 in cheapo lamps that, or even not so cheapo lamps. And when I say cheapo lamps, I'm not saying $200 for one try. I'm talking about multiple purchases that I've spent about $200 trying different lighting options that don't work. So when I look at it that way, I think, yeah, if I saw a review and someone said all this about it, you know, I might give it a go. So if you have any other questions, let me know. I'm not being paid to say any of this. I would say it regardless of the fact that they sent it to me, free or not. It really did not affect my opinion at all. And so, yeah, I think if it's within your budget, I think you would find it enjoyable. I don't know if they have any policy on refunds, so that's something you probably want to check out because it is a big investment, and because something works for me, it might not work for you. So keep that in mind. That's the most important thing, is that I might find something very useful and you don't. And so you want to know that maybe you could return it. The company is in China, so if you are able to return it, what are the costs of that? Those are questions that are legitimate, and you probably want to find out directly from the company before making such a big investment. But yeah, I'm going to use it in my sewing room, in my stitching area, and in the TV room, as I've been doing in this 3.5-week period. And thank you, BenQ, for sending it to me. I'm glad I liked it, because it would be really sad if I if I said it stinks and you shouldn't get it. So there you have it. And now I'm going to put some lipstick on. I don't know about you. It's very dry in Colorado. And so I feel my lips get really dry and flaky if I don't put lipstick on. That's a non sequitur for you. Let's talk about lamps and lipstick. Lipstick and lamps. All right. Now we are back from our commercial break. I'm going to show you my last SAF, my last start and finish. And this is a gift. This chart was a gift from Claire. who has a YouTube channel, Flosstube channel, called Stitched Lit or Stitched Lit. I will put her link below or next door, wherever the description box is now. She's no longer on Instagram, but she's fine. I was going to tag her in my picture on Instagram, and she was nowhere to be found. And she is closed her Instagram account, but Claire's doing fine. But she sent me this because she had been working on it and I admired it, and she did not want me to have to wait until she was finished. So she bought one for me and sent it to me. Back in the olden days, in my old YouTube channel days, I had the name Bird Stitcher because I like to stitch birds, and I love birds. But now I guess I would be Bunny Bird Cat Stitcher. Anyway, it's really cute. So I started this because the other day we had the biggest robin I've ever seen. She had to be ready to drop her eggs. She was huge. She was drinking at the bird bath right outside our kitchen window, so Hamilton can watch and we can watch out the bay window where our breakfast table is. Well, we eat breakfast and lunch there. Dinner is at the TV because we don't have kids at home. Anyway, we have the robins come and drink the water. They're so thirsty. They're always drinking the water. And we saw a really big pregnant one. At least I think she was pregnant. So I wanted to stitch the robins feeding their babies. The babies, as Nikki would say, babies. So this is what I started and finished using the called for DMC. And I did it on 36 count. It's a Zweigart. It's not hand dyed. It's one of their, oh, is it antique ivory? Is that one? I don't remember, but can you see? Look, there's a worm and the babies with their mouths open. Now the eyes, everything's called for, but you can't really see their eyes. So I may go back and stitch over and do a darker color so you can see the eyes. Isn't that cute? You get 3 guesses on how I'm going to FFO it. Yeah. I was thinking I would eventually want to stitch all of them. Where did I put the pattern? I just had it. I just had the pattern. Anyway, I'm kind of a selfish stitcher, but I'm going to run out of room for pillows because you can't hang them on a wall. Well, I guess you could hang them on the wall. It would be a padded room, and maybe that's what I need, but I think maybe these will be nice little gifts to send to somebody for a birthday or, you know, just thinking about you. I just think it's adorable with, you know, a chenille or, oh, what do you call it? The little, oh, the little balls, pom-pom, little pom-pom trim. Yes. So that's it for my finished projects, and it was not what I had planned for March. When I started March, I thought, okay, I am going to try and finish either I Am No Bird by Modern Folk Embroidery. It's the quote by Jane Austen. I'm going by memory, which is always a bad thing. Or Ruskin's Penguins. That's what my plan was to do for March. And like all plans, it went out the window. And so yeah, I thought I'm going to do smalls, and that's what I did. The other thing I did in March, which is not cross-stitch related, but is inspired by Trixie Tricycle, Jody, as well as Jennifer of Whistle Stop, and also Stacy of 911 Stitching, or 911 Stitcher. Crochet. We're finishing our basement, and that home project actually is going well. The rest of the house may be put on hold because of my medical stuff, but in any event, our basement will be finished probably in another month or so. And so I wanted to do Afghans for the basement. So it's going to be a TV watching room where we can have company. Because right now Scott and I watch in a really small bedroom upstairs, and it's comfortable for both of us, but not really for company. This is my own, oh, I have to show this, for Melanie. Snoopy! Can you see that? It's a Snoopy stitch holder. I made up the pattern. It's a, I don't know what you would call it, but basically it's double crochet, 3, skip, and then do double crochet every other row. I'm not explaining that very well, but there are gaps where there's nothing between, you know, the double crochet and the next round of double crochet. And so in this gap right here on the next row, you just do the 3 double crochets. Does that make sense? I'm an expert knitter. I've been knitting almost 32 years, and I knit sweaters and all kinds of things. Arthritis, I kind of stopped because of my thumb arthritis, which is much better, but I don't wear sweaters because of all my heat issues with hot flashes. So I thought, yeah, I'll just make some Afghans for other people to enjoy in the basement. So I've started this, and this is a lot of fun. We went out on Saturday night to go listen to jazz, and I took it with me. It's the kind of thing you can do if we are watching a movie that requires a lot of intense watching, and I can't look down at my stitching. Crochet is a really good substitute. Oh, Scott's getting home from the grocery store. He's going to wonder what I'm doing because I didn't tell him I was going to record. No, I'm not talking on the phone. This yarn that I'm using is called Impeccable, and it is by Loops and Threads. Yeah, Loops and Threads, which you can find at Michael's. They had a really good sale, so I bought quite a bit. I have a problem buying large volumes of things. Problem, obsession, I don't know. But I love this color. It's like a plum color. And so that's, oh, the hook I'm using is a size N. N as in noodle. But wait, there's more, because you can't only have one crochet project, right? This is a multicolor one that is also going to be in the basement. And it also has a Snoopy stitch marker on it, right here. Isn't that cute? And all this is a half double crochet. Every single stitch is a half double crochet. And it's multicolor. I don't know how many, I just use the color until I don't want to use it anymore, and then I start another color. And let me, this rolled over here. I'll just show you some of the colors I have. These are already on it, so you can see. I have a navy blue, just kind of neutral colors. And then also this aqua or teal to kind of pop, and the rest are kind of neutral colors. So, because we're going to be buying new furniture down there, and our color scheme is pretty much going to be grays and blues, from what I understand from Scott the decorator. And this is, I believe, an M. I keep wanting to say needle, an M crochet hook. So that's what I've been getting into as well. And so I keep track of that in my book of days as well. I just put crochet day, and then here's an example, crochet day. And I put little yarn stickers, because you got to have a sticker to go with everything, don't you? I think so. All right, so let's talk about some kindness. I received 2 cards, one from Padma. Padma is a great Flosstube fan, and she has a tuxedo cat as well. And look at those tuxedo cats on that card. Isn't that adorable? If I could stuff it into a pillow, I would. But I'm going to frame it. Because I just love that art. Then I got a beautiful card also from Sarah, who's Mistress Page on Instagram. She's a friend of Stacy, 911 Stitcher. Look at this beautiful card. It's handmade. It says on the back, it's handmade. I don't know, Sarah, did you make this? And she wrote me a lovely note that really touched me, and it came on a day, just like Padma's did, came on a different day, but a day that I was on the struggle bus, feeling a little sorry for myself. So they really lifted me and came at the right time. So thank you to both of you. Mwah! All right, then we will talk about haul. Yes, it was market. Unlike the stuffing, unlike the wool roving and the yarn, I showed a lot of restraint. I'm patting myself on the back. Oh, you can see, no, you can't see my arm. I was just looking to see if you could check out my armpit. What's wrong with me? Okay, had to get this. Ellen Reed has finished this. She finished it over the weekend at Stitch North. Isn't that beautiful? This is by Michelle Bendy. When this came out, everybody went crazy for it. It calls for DMC and some Mill Hill beads, but here's a little secret. Evertotes, Caroline at Evertotes is putting together a Leo and Roxy floss pack for a conversion. That's what Ellen Reed's finish is, Leo and Roxy. So I'm waiting for that to come out so I can get it and do this with Leo and Roxy. Isn't that beautiful? Now Matt, who works for Evertote, works for Caroline, has, well, he's an amazing sewist. He makes the most beautiful beautiful doesn't even describe it. Period clothing that he makes. They're just stunning. And he made a coat, a lady man coat. And I saw a picture of him wearing it over the weekend at Stitch North. And it's stunning. And he looks amazing in it. So that's going to be fun. I'll probably start this in May or June. But who knows? I might start it tomorrow. No, I can't. I have to wait for Leo and Roxy. I'm not going to do it on the on DMC, even though it looks great in DMC, but Leo and Roxy floss is absolutely stunning. And I made one other market purchase. Yes, you heard that right. 2. Only 2. Home improvement projects are expensive, and they really cut into crafting budgets. But that's okay. We're all grown-ups here, right? I'm sorry if my water drinking is rude, but I don't feel like I have the bandwidth to edit it out. Not my iPad bandwidth, my personal bandwidth. The other chart, I asked Sherry at Colorado Cross Stitcher to pre-order for me because I saw Teresa Kogut post it pre-market as a tease. Yes, Teresa Kogut. She was teasing us. I gotta fold this back because I don't want to show the other chart. But I saw this. I didn't know it was part of a booklet, which is fine because there are other little projects in here that I certainly will stitch. But look at this. It's called Let Love Rain. And I says to myself, self, you gotta get that. So I did. And I was so inspired by it. The colors are just beautiful. Oh, I just love it. I want to start it yesterday, but I'm trying to limit my big projects that are in progress. Yeah, right. We'll see how that goes. And I did get flosses. There are two that were not in stock that I will have to track down, but it calls for DMC and Weeks. It calls for Oscar, which I think has been hard to get. I'll have to see if I have some in my stash. But Weeks Onyx, which I think has been kind of hard to get lately, but Sherry had it. And then here are the DMC colors. Just look at that. They're just gorgeous. I love these tones. I'm going to go to the hair salon and say, well, I'll take out the blue and the green, but here, put these colors in my hair. DM conversion for my hair. Let me see what fabric it calls for. I'll probably do it on a 36 unless it'll be too big. I don't know if it's a, because I don't research the details until I'm ready to pick out the fabric. I just say, give me that. Oh, it is. Okay, it's 40 count. So if it's a 36 count, it would be 16 3/8 by 21 5/8. I don't know. I might do 40 count would be 14 3/4 by 19 1/2. So I'll either do, I have a lot of 40 count in my stash, and I don't want to buy new fabric. This is on, it was stitched on Grandma's Slip by X-Jew Designs. And Oscar, you need 3 skeins of Oscar to do this chart. So that might be hard to get. But here are the other projects that are in this booklet that are just stunning and adorable. I don't know if, yeah, here's this little pillow to make. Oh, now I'm on the hunt for all the pillows. All right, so those were my market purchases. And I'm very proud of myself for showing restraint. I'm just, right? It'll all be there. Maybe we can trade, I finished this. We can trade with someone else who finishes another market project. There are ways that we can enjoy it without going broke. That's the lesson of today, right? Okay, so I'm hesitant to talk about plans because I always end up throwing them out the window. But I have told you about my plans to make pillows and to stuff everything. So I was going through my stash, shopping in my craft room, and I found this that I've had for several years now by Teresa Vanetti, or Teresa Vanette. Shakespeare's peddler, you know her. I was going to say Teresa Renteria. Does anybody know who Teresa Renteria is? If you do, put it in the comments. My guess is you're not going to know the Teresa Renteria comment or its context unless you are 55 or older. That's my guess. If you're younger than that, ask your parents if they know Teresa Renteria. I'm like talking in code. Oh, also, if you're not in the United States, you might not know. I'll give you a hint. It's reference to a TV show from the 70s. Okay, so let's get back to stitching. Fractor bird. Isn't that cute? Little pillow. And I believe it's jute and a bead. But, you could just do it without that and a nice trim. So I've pulled this out. This is sort of my immediate radar stack that I hope to do in between big projects that are either in my WIP pile or maybe new starts, like that last one I showed you from Teresa Kogut. So we'll see. All right, Stacy Nash Primitives. Here's a cute little pillow. Calls for Beach Brew and Cayenne. Weeks Dye Works Cayenne. It calls for 2 skeins. Is it 1 over? It doesn't say if that's 2 over 1 over 2 or 1 over 2, but calls for Cayenne. But that's a sweet little pillow. And this is another, speaking of Shakespeare's Peddler, I've had this for a while, and I actually have the called for thread, which is Gentle Art Carriage Black. But you could stitch it in any color. I'm trying to get it so you can't see the glare. Isn't that sweet? And a little lace. So I've pulled these to have in a pile that I can go to if I'm putting a project in timeout or I want to do something smaller. Then I have it right there, and I can pull from my stash and my for fabric, and also because I also have a basket of small pieces of linen that I can use for smaller projects. But then this little guy too. We gotta do a penguin. I think it's so cute. And this is Quirky Quaker by Darling and Whimsy. And she just has the cutest Quirky Quaker. Say that 5 times fast. Cutest Quirky Quaker, cutest Quirky Quaker. I can't do it. So those are some things that are mulling around in my head. And since I finished Frances, I picked up last night Ruskin's Penguins, because this is one of 2 charts that I want to get finished, that I think I can finish in a month's time. Like I said before, this is one that maybe I wanted to do in March, but I got sideways with the smalls. Now this I had to rip out 3 times last night. I'm sorry, Jacob. Jacob is the designer, of course, behind this chart. It's not your fault, Jacob, it's mine, but I might have to put this in timeout tonight. I don't know. Look at the needle minder. That's from Nikki. So this is 40 count R&R Old Penny, which I just thought looked like ocean. So that's what I wanted to put my penguins on. You know, the letters won't take that long. It's just the pesky border that and it's not pesky. I just think I wasn't paying attention like I should. So that's what I worked on last night. And I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna do any new starts, because obviously I'm gonna do some of the smalls and the pillows that I have to use up the stuffing. But probably want to work on some of my bigger projects that I love. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards in between the small, is to work on the Peacocks in the Garden, Cinnamon Stars. These are projects that I started in January and February that I want to get back to. So I have plenty to choose from, and I'm going to try and focus on doing those rather than starting something big. But I got to tell you, the Love Reigns, the Teresa Kogut, that is really calling to me. So it's going to be hard not to start. So if I do start it, whoopee-doo, right? It's sitting in my project bag. So it's either sitting there with the threads and the fabric and the pattern with no stitches in it, or it's sitting there with a couple stitches on it, right? It's all the same, right? Don't you love how we justify things to ourselves? I do. I'm just looking around to make sure that there isn't anything else, because I know this has gone on quite a bit. But I think that's it. Oh, no, there's one more. Okay, so another little pattern that I wanted to start that I put down in my book was a start, but really isn't. So I kind of had to do an amendment to it. Hi, Scott. You want to say hi to Flosstube?
Hi, Flosstube.
Mwah. Thanks for doing the grocery shopping.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Okay.
I'm sure you showed your bunnies.
I did. I did. Do you want to play with the bunnies? Don't hurt them. Yeah. Okay. This has gone on long and I don't want to edit, so I'm just going to keep going. This is Tuxedo in the garden, or no, Tuxie's garden. See, I told you I make things up. Tuxie's garden, and I'm sorry it's black and white. I printed it at home. And this is by stitchwithcoffee.etsy.com, who has adorable patterns if you want to go check her out. And of course, that's Hamilton. So I thought, I found a piece of Lugana, 28 count. And I thought, oh my, I'll do 1/1. Right? Okay. I did 1/1. And I think she's adorable. And I'm going to do something with her. But when I was finished, I was cross-eyed. And my arthritis was killing me. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know what the difference is between doing 1/2 versus 1/1, but it was so fiddly and hurt my thumbs. I can't do it. So I'm going to restart Tuxie's garden, and I'm going to do it on, I'm not going to do it on Lugana. I don't really like working on it. I don't know what has changed from 4 years ago when I really liked working on it. And I pulled out some 40 count beige from Weeks Dye Works. And I am going to restart because I have all the threads pulled. These are Tuxie's garden. And so that is also going to be a pillow. So that will go in the pile with the other ones I showed you. And look at this. Look at what my friend Nikki, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this because I couldn't decide which needle minder to put on for my prairie birds. So I put all 3 on. And here they're still on the fabric. Look, there's little Hamilton in a sweater and hat, and Bert and Ernie, because Nikki and I are like Bert and Ernie. She lives near the big banana, so I told her she needs to be Bert because he looks like a banana. So I forgot to show that earlier. Thank you, Nikki. All right, now that is everything stitch-wise and plans, I think. And I know this is running long, so if you've had enough of me and you don't need to hear about my personal medical stuff, you don't need to stay. It was nice seeing you, even though I can't see you. It was nice for you to see me. How's that? Okay, so bottom line, I had my MRI, my follow-up MRI, which I still don't know what exactly it shows because I had it on Monday and I'm waiting to hear from the various specialists, some in California, some here in Denver. I have an appointment with the Denver specialist April 14th. I'm waiting for setting up a telephone appointment or telemed appointment with the specialist in San Diego and the specialist in Los Angeles. But the bottom line is, it really doesn't matter what the MRI shows. And I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive. For those who don't know, Reader's Digest version, in August 2021, I was diagnosed with an acoustic neuroma, which is also called a vestibular schwannoma, which sounds made up. Mark Ruffalo, famous actor, had it about 10 years ago. Also, the wife of the quarterback for the LA Rams, the team that just won the Super Bowl, She had it 2 years ago, and she had surgery to both Mark Ruffalo and the wife of the quarterback of the LA Rams had it removed. It is a tumor that is not cancer, but it is made of nerves. And the tricky thing about it, people can get brain tumors that aren't cancer. I didn't know that. I thought anytime you get a brain tumor, it's cancer. Shows you what I know. Growths happen in the brain. Some are called meningiomas, and they're in various locations underneath the skull. The tricky thing about the acoustic neuromas is that they grow around or on the one of the cranial nerves. There are a bunch of cranial nerves. I think there are 8, but cranial nerves are the nerves that control various and sundry things. The ones that are relevant to an acoustic neuroma are the acoustic nerve, the vestibular nerve, which is balance, how we perceive our surroundings, the auditory nerve, self-explanatory, how you hear, and facial nerve. So these tumors grow in various locations within that area, and they're usually one-sided. The only time they're on both sides if it's a genetic condition and has another sub-diagnosis. So what happens, how I got diagnosed is I'm losing my hearing in my left ear. So if there's unilateral hearing loss, it's not balanced, then they usually screen you for these. And an MRI showed that I indeed had one. It was either 2 or 2.1 centimeter by, I think, 1.7 by 1.10, all centimeters, which it's kind of like an ice cream cone, so it's 3-dimensional, if that makes sense. All right, so people can live with these without any symptoms, and it can be a big tumor without any symptoms, or they can have a little tiny tumor with really bad symptoms. So there's not necessarily a correlation between the size of the tumor and symptoms. So my particular situation is such that my treatment decisions, assuming the MRI shows no growth, which I totally expect, these statistically are either slow growing, very slow growing, or they have periods where they don't grow at all. Now, the size of mine when I was diagnosed leads them to think I've probably had this for a long time, like maybe 10 years, just because of the size of it, and they don't grow that fast. So if the MRI showed there was a large growth, I would have heard from one of the specialists by now, because they have all the films. I made sure the films went to who I wanted them to go to. So there's nothing urgent or life-threatening that's going on. I suspect it's like all other tumors and it hasn't grown. So what am I waiting for? What's the big deal? Why have the MRI if it doesn't matter what it showed? We just wanted to confirm that it isn't impinging on my brainstem. It's touching the brainstem, but it's not pushing on it. So I can breathe, my heart can function. So really what the point where I am is to decide what kind of treatment I'm going to pursue. And that's based primarily on symptoms. That is the quality of my life. If it was only hearing loss and the tinnitus, the ringing in my ears that I have, well, that's not going to go away no matter what treatment. In fact, I will be deaf in this ear if I do nothing, right? If I just do absolutely nothing and the tumor stays the same size, or if it grows very small, in very small increments over a period of time, those 2 symptoms, I got to live with them. And that's fine. I've adjusted to it. Surgery to remove it most likely will cause me to lose all the hearing in that ear. I'm about 20% word recognition in that ear, so it's not that big of a leap. And I do wear hearing aids. But the hearing, I noticed on the left, it helps a little, but not a lot. So that's one thing to consider for surgery. So why would I undergo surgery if the tumor isn't getting bigger and isn't pressing on the brainstem. There are a number of symptoms that may or may not be related to the tumor, but probably are and may be exacerbated by other factors. But basically, Scott calculated it to be about every 3 days or 1 in 3 days, something is going on. I think that's a little more frequent, but I've had a week and a half where I have nothing, except for the hearing loss and the tinnitus. The main symptoms that I have been having are ear pain, which can be severe or it can be just annoying, and anywhere in between. I also get fatigued. I can also, there was times when we went to a movie theater and saw a movie, I got very dizzy, could not walk straight, came home, slept for like 15 hours. So I can remove myself from certain situations and try and avoid those triggers, but sometimes things happen for no reason or no explanation. I'll wake up in the middle of the night with ear pain, for example, and not know why. And it can cause, when they're really bad, it can cause a very bad headache. So it's really a calculus to decide what the quality of life is and what I can expect it to be going forward, and whether that's something that can be tolerated and lived with and move on with, or surgery to have it removed and have these symptoms potentially go away. The other choice is radiation, and that's not without risks either. Radiation could not work. It could damage other parts of nerves and things like that. It can also make symptoms worse. So there's a lot of risk to, not a lot, there are risks to both. And it's just something that I need to sit down with the specialists and get their different opinions. And, you know, the surgeons, I'm sure, have a bias towards taking it out with surgery. The radiologists, they call them oncology radiologists because they do a lot of cancer treatment. They probably have a bias towards zapping it. My age, age 60, I'm healthy. They don't consider 60 to be too old for surgery. So do I want to have surgery now and try and eliminate the symptoms that I do get before maybe they get worse and then I'm 65 or even 70 facing surgery? Those are all the things that I'm considering. So there's no one, like, this is the day that this happens. It's all a process. And that's probably why I haven't recorded in so long, because I've kind of been sitting with it and going through different periods of anxiety at various stages. Here's the other thing I learned. I went to an online lecture about these from a neuropsychologist. The tumors sit in a place where neurotransmitters in the brain, you know, like your serotonin and your, I can't remember the other one, that control anxiety, mood, depression. The tumor itself, physically and biochemically, can alter those. So you might have situational anxiety or depression just thinking about, oh, I don't want to have my head cut open. But there's also an organic or physiological reason for it. It really doesn't matter what the cause is. You know, the symptoms are what they are. And so it's a lot. I tried to make this brief and it didn't work. But that's where I am. So I expect in the next couple weeks that I will meet with the various specialists. And I used to do a really good job about keeping track of symptoms and what I was going through and how I was feeling and how it interrupted my life that particular day or days. And then I got to the point where I didn't even want to think about it. You know, Scott would say, "How are you feeling?" I said, "I'm fine. I just don't want to think about it." I gotta get out of that mindset and really look and see what the evidence is showing and what what my experience has been, you know, both physically and emotionally and all of that, so that I can discuss it with the specialists and weigh the pros and cons to everything. That's where I am. I doubt I will do what's called watch and wait, which some people with smaller tumors and no symptoms, they'll do. They just get scans either every 6 months or once a year, and they don't do anything for a while. And that's a totally legitimate approach to take. When I met with the specialist when I was first diagnosed, neither of them suggested that as an option. That may change depending on what the MRI shows. But I don't know that I could handle. I think mentally I have to do something. I'm a problem solver. I want to get it taken care of to the extent I can. And honestly, the last 2 weeks have been very good. I feel very optimistic. And while I may have days where I can't work because the pain in my ear is bad and it causes a really bad headache and I just have to close my eyes and sleep. Even after that or during that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have a plan and it's going to get better, and whatever I decide to do, it's going to work. I'm healthy and I have a good attitude. And that's kind of how I've been feeling the last couple days. So because of all that, our home improvement projects are kind of up in the air because we don't know what I'm going to be doing and when I'm going to be doing it. So that's where we are. One thing I have decided, that if I go forward with surgery, I'm going to go to San Diego, where the most experienced team is. That's what they do. They take out acoustic neuromas. That's one of the specialists I'm waiting to hear from. And that's all they do. And if someone's cutting into my head, I want them to be able to do it with their eyes closed. I don't think they'll close their eyes. Maybe they'll knit while they cut open my head. I don't know. So that is one thing that I have decided. And that's a whole other list of things to think about, right? Traveling, staying in a place for 2 weeks, and all that kind of stuff. So that's where I am. I appreciate all of the good thoughts and well wishes from everybody. There really isn't anything to announce, and probably won't be for a while. So I'll keep everybody posted to the extent you want to be posted. But cross stitch is amazing for when I feel dizzy. So if anybody suffers from any kind of vertigo or dizziness, it helps me just to focus on that piece of fabric and to make those meditative stitches. Crochet is the same. So that's my advice. That's a prescription for everybody. But I'm preaching to the choir, right? You wouldn't be watching this if you weren't a crafter. I'm losing my voice. I've talked so much. Thank you for sticking with me all this time. And hopefully this won't take too long to upload. And I want to wish everybody a happy April. Passover's coming up in 2 weeks, and Easter is like a couple days after Passover. So I hope everybody has and Ramadan. Ramadan started April 2nd, from what I understand. It goes for a month. So whatever you celebrate, or if you celebrate just being alive, like I do, enjoy your celebrations, because we're not guaranteed a tomorrow. How deep is that? Let's put that on a fortune cookie. All right, take care, everybody. Happy stitching. Mwah.